Eric Spoelstra is the Boston Celtics daddy. Let's talk playoff hoops. Let's get into foul trouble.
Okay, we got to start out with our teams. I feel like I want to start on a good note. I want to start light. I want to start up. James, how are you feeling? Your Miami Heat just even the series 1-1.
1-1
against the vaunted Boston Celtics.
We chanted, we want Boston. We got them. We beat them. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Celtics are the way more talented team than the Heat. And like we talked about after game one, like series is probably going to go Boston's way. I still feel like the Celtics are going to win. One thing like that I feel like, if you're a Boston fan, you got to kind of be like, wow, is that the Heat last night took exclusively wide open threes. Like exclusively.
Literally that's the whole shot
they took was wide open threes. And the Celtics took like only difficult shots and they only lost by 10. I feel like that really shows the talent gap between these two teams is like when the shot quality is that big of a difference, like you can still be within striking distance. Now, what I would be worried about for the Celtics, and this is the thing, I hate talking about mental toughness and the mental side of the NBA because
we're going to be talking about that a lot today.
I don't know these guys, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be foolish for me to assume a guy who, whose whole life has probably gone into hostile environments in high school, hostile environments in college, hostile environments in the NBA is not mentally tough. Usually when players are not clutch, I tend to be thinking that's more of a stamina issue with a lot of players than a clutch thing. That's how I've usually felt about NBA players. But if there's one team, man, where when things aren't going well for them and the camera pans to Tatum and he has this look on his face where he looks like he's like, oh my God, what just happened? It's the Celtics team, man. They just are so soft.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's definitely against this Heat team in particular as well, where it starts to show up. But I get you, and like it's really hard to talk in those like generalities because you don't know what's really going on.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like if a guy misses a clutch jumper, is it because he's not clutch, or is it because like jump shots go in 45% of the time and it's a coin flip? You know what I mean? Like I hate talking about the mental toughness side of the NBA, but like this is the one team where if you feel it watching them play.
Well, and I think part of that, which we can kind of quantify, is there is a massive coaching gap here.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it's ever, maybe ever is too much to say, but yesterday it was blatantly obvious what that coaching gap was and how heavy it is in favor in terms of Eric Spoelstra and really the game plan that he set out to go and take out the Celtics. The fact that like the Heat, a heavy mid-range team, came out and 53% of their shots were from three, which of every single game they have played this season, that was the highest percentage of shots coming from three from the Heat. And of course, you're not going to shoot, or you're not going to shoot equally 53% on threes every single game. But like they are playing in a way that I feel a Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo led team would play. It's very kind of like poor man's Steph and Draymond out there. And for some reason, like the Celtics just look flummoxed by it.
Yeah, it's I think what's tough for the Celtics, right? With Porzingis being like 7'2", 7'3", he's really able to kind of play a little bit more of a drop and still contest jump shots. He actually did block a 3-point attempt yesterday, but like I think what's tough is Bam, will come up with the ball and they run the handoff action, but when they don't run the handoff action and Bam turns around, he's fast. Like for a center, he is fast and his agility really gets to guys. And that mid-range shot, he's pushing Porzingis back into the paint and then he pulls up for that mid-range shot. It really kind of gives the Heat offense a nice like steadying ability. I mean, I feel like it's just yesterday, like it's hard to say, like the Heat were wide open on almost every,
just over and over and over
even
again.
the attempts that weren't wide open. There's a late three in the game where Drew is very close and he's like closing out, but his hand's not up. He's just running toward the shooter without his hand up. And I'm like, dude, that's open for an NBA guy. That's like wide open if you're not contesting it. Like, I don't know what to make of yesterday's game.
Yeah, well, it
like part of me is like, okay, this will be the one Celtics slip up. They're gonna get it together. But then part of me is like, what if the Heat go up 2-1 and they're just bombing threes again? Is it going to be like last year where the Celtics are like, oh God?
I don't think, like you said, I don't think that it's necessarily series changing just because of how shorthanded the Heat are. But yesterday gave me like kind of a playoff changing vibe for the Boston Celtics. I think the like game plan to make their life really, really difficult is laid out now. It's take a bunch of threes. And then, I mean, you touched on it just now, but Kristaps Porzingis, like, was a complete disaster class yesterday. We saw Tyler Hero guarding Kristaps Porzingis in the post in the fourth quarter and doing it effectively.
Yeah, it's the Heat really, like, I feel like one thing the Heat have, and I wonder if it's just like this is Spoelstra's like edge just through experience, is I feel like the Heat more than any team have their dial perfectly put on. This is how much more physical we can play than normal without fouling.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting point.
Because like it feels like the Heat were like, all right, we're gonna put like guards and wings on Porzingis and really contest the catch. Because if he gets the catch, okay, he's probably gonna score. But if we can contest the catch, and they forced a lot of turnovers on those like post entry passes. But I mean, I think this is the big thing with the Celtics is like Tatum is so good when he plays out of that like mid post, high post area. And they have so much spacing. And then like they go to it. He spins off of Duncan Robinson, gets a dunk. And then I think he had a fast break dunk like 2 plays earlier. But like they just don't go to their advantage, which is like Tatum is fucking awesome down low.
Tatum's awesome down low. Jaylen Brown is absolute magic in transition. And they're not getting into transition either. Like, I just feel like it can get to be such a slog. And Joe Mazzulla doesn't seem to really be doing any adjustments on the fly thus far. Especially, like, the reason the Heat were getting all those free shots from three is Boston's kind of loading up on the interior in trying to deter those mid-range shots at the rim that the Heat are kind of known for. And the Heat haven't really wanted that. And Boston continues to try to take it away.
Yeah. We talked about maybe I don't know, it's been a while, like 20 episodes ago. We talked about the concept of like players when you're rooting against another team, when they have the ball, are you happy or sad? And the Celtics are weird. When Tatum gets the ball in the perimeter, I got to say, I'm kind of like, this is great. He's going to do some weird Kobe impression and it's going to brick. When Tatum gets the ball like at the free throw line with his back to the basket, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like I feel like the best version of Tatum, weirdly, like we haven't even seen.
Yeah. And I think partially as good, I really think we were talking about this before the podcast. I really think Jaylen Brown was a huge reason of why the Celtics were in that game for as long as they were. I mean, like when a team shoots 53% from three on an insane amount of attempts, you're not going to win. But the Celtics were in the game for most of the game. But tell me if you get this too. I feel like if I brought like some alien that like could like understand a basketball game, but had no idea of any of the players in the NBA, if I showed them a Boston Celtics game and I'd say like, who do you think is like their star player? Who do you think like the rest of the team treats as their star player? I feel like that alien would say Jaylen Brown. I just feel like they funnel so much to Jaylen Brown when like Jason Tatum is the obvious person who should be the first option, but he's just not treated like that by his teammates.
Yeah, I don't know. We talked about this way when they played Denver. They're too egalitarian at times. They really need to just go into like Tatum mode. But the problem is like Tatum and Brown are both sneaky, not great passers.
Yeah. Well, and that goes to as well, like the Kristaps Porzingis thing. It's like when he's like reposting for, 10 seconds of the shot clock, it becomes a lot harder to take advantage of that Tyler Hero mismatch.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm still thinking the Celtics are going to win this series.
How many games now? How many games?
It's so hard because I feel like game 3 is going to be like the telling thing.
So if they win game 3, is it going 7?
I'm going to say Celtics in 6. I think the Heat are going to get one of these at home, and then the Celtics will figure it out. And they'll close it in Miami.
Yeah, I'll stick. I said Celtics in 5 before the series, so that's still in play. I'll stick with it. But definitely not feeling great about just the trickle down effects of this.
Yeah, I feel like game 3 could go one or two ways. Celtics come out, they dominate, they show game 2 might have been a fluke. Maybe they just got a little ahead of themselves. Or game 3 looks like last year where the Heat are just bombing threes again, and they're like, oh my God, we're down 2-1 after a 64-win season. What's going on?
I mean, they're gonna bomb threes. If they go in, who knows? But they're gonna bomb threes.
Let's get to
Timberwolves Suns.
Timberwolves Suns. So I was not able to watch a lot of game 2. I watched the ending after the game was I watched the ending with you after the game was effectively over. So I'll let you guys take the lead here.
First things first. I want to give the spotlight to Max. You guys are up 2-0 in this series. You guys have not won a playoff series since 2004. Kevin Garnett, Latrell Sprewell, Sam Cassell, that whole gang.
Yeah.
What is the feeling of being a Timberwolves fan right now? Just like,
is this the greatest T-Wolves team of all time? Give it to me.
Is it the greatest T-Wolves team of all time? How are you feeling? I just want to give you the floor, Max.
It's like I feel good, obviously, but it's such a reluctant feeling for me because especially that win, it's like Cat played really poorly. Ant had 18 points, I think, by the end of the game.
Yeah, Ant was 3 for 12 from the floor.
Yeah, so it's it is reassuring that even when our 2-star players don't play good games, Jaden McDaniels can get 25. That's crazy.
So impressive.
Yeah. Dude. And then Mike Conley stepped up in a big way and he had 18 or 20 points. That was really cool to see. And so it's I'm hype, but I'm also just very cautiously hype.
I mean, before I get into the Suns, what you said, the Suns had a 7-point lead midway through the second quarter. And they were playing really, really great basketball at that point in the game. And I felt like there was an opportunity there to pull away. Mm-hmm. And Mike Conley just really came through. I think he scored or assisted on 18 points in a row in that second quarter. And it ended the half just a 1-point game. Mm-hmm. And that completely translated into the second half. Cat, who was in foul trouble the first half of that game, came through in the second half, played a lot better. Ant obviously was not efficient, but had his moments.
He did assist on a lot of great plays, and he played pretty smart.
My question is a box score watcher, because again, I didn't really get to watch this game. What did Durant look like? Because he took a big step back, at least box score wise, from game 1.
Yeah, I mean Durant. Yeah, let's get into the Suns. Let's get into the Suns.
Crank the DV down.
Durant was floating. Just this Suns team, especially in the second half, looked like the Suns team that we have watched all season. A team that I think so. The Suns have a beat writer, Gerald Bourguet, who wrote an article, and I think he kind of put it perfectly. In one quote, it said, "Reading between the lines, it sounds like this team in the Suns is united in its desire to win, but divided by fundamental differences of opinion on how to do so." This team, it just seems like there's every one of the stars are all pulling in different directions. And because of that, it turns into pounding the ball into the ground, and then their percentages are okay. KD shot 6 for 15, not great. Beal shot 6 for 17, not great. Booker shot 6 for 13, not great, but not absolutely abysmal. But it's because with 5 seconds left on the shot clock, they're chucking a grenade to, Drew Eubanks down low. They're chucking a grenade to Yusuf Nurkic, who had a huge bounce back game, especially on the boards. He was able to get 14 rebounds.
Yeah, I was going to say the rebounding was so different in this game.
Which gave the Suns a chance to win this game, but they can't score in the half court because they're just so unorganized. Frank Vogel, honestly, I've said a lot of tough things about Frank Vogel this season. You see him on the sideline screaming his head off for the team to like get the pace up, get up threes. The Suns, I had a whole monologue last episode about how the Suns need to be shooting threes. When they shoot over 30 threes, their winning percentage is way better. Suns shot 23s this game.
The Suns, I mean, it's just the redundancy issue where Booker and Durant have just so much skill set overlap. And it's like the way they get into it's a little different, but both of them just love to get around the elbow and shoot.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
But it comes to a point where like I was talking about the Heat, their ability to implement a plan, implement what their coach lays out for them is what makes them, it's what makes them Heat culture. It's what makes them a great organization. And right now, like the Suns just, God, the vibes are bad. Like, and we saw this throughout the season, but there were moments where they looked great. They looked like world beaters. And I mean, I feel like I can't go any other place right now than there's been a lot of talk. We were all talking about it in our group chat after of like, oh, like time for the Suns to blow it up. Time for the Suns to blow it up. And, you know, we're going to have a lot of discussions about that. I will say there's no time in Devin Booker's career on the Suns have I felt more like, oh my God, like, is this like coming to an end soon?
Yeah, so I saw, Patrick, you entertained a Trey Murphy-led trade package for Devin Booker last night on Twitter. I was like, I might need to check in on Patrick. I feel like this is what rock bottom looks like.
Yeah.
I got to check if the alcohol bottles in his apartment are open right now.
It was a pretty low point, and I feel like people don't realize what Devin Booker is to the Suns franchise. Everything that Damian Lillard was to the Trailblazers, Devin Booker is to Suns fans. He's the one player in Suns history that was drafted by the Suns, stayed on the Suns, and brought them to really, really high heights. I mean, I don't think he gets really enough credit for what he did in that finals run. Chris Paul was in the first round, his right arm didn't work. He had COVID in the conference finals. Like, Devin Booker was our best player throughout that entire run. But I need to call you out right now, Devin Booker. There is a level of unseriousness. There is a lack of leadership on this team, especially on the court. And like, Devin has been absolutely incredible in most of the playoff series that we have seen him in. But when the going gets tough, recently in the Game 7 of the Mavericks series, Game 7 of, I mean, I give you kind of a pass, Game 7 of the Nuggets series last year because we were so shorthanded. No Chris, no DeAndre, just like an really tough place to start from, especially from, which we'll talk about later, a team that may go down as like one of the greatest all-time teams in this Nuggets core. But if you're that guy, if you are like Team USA starting two guard, you're 27 years old, you need to step up and be a leader for this team in a way that I just feel like hasn't shown on the court thus far. And like, that's pretty much all there is to say, because the Suns have the tools to make this a long, long, long series. But until honestly, I'm taking Beal out of this conversation. Until one of KD or Book decides to say, hey, I'm going to go down shooting. Doesn't matter how cool I look. Doesn't matter like what it looks like. The Suns are not going to win a game in this series.
I feel like the problem with the Booker leadership thing is Booker is definitely a real hooper's hooper.
Totally.
He's the guy who doesn't want to get double teamed in the open runs. And the problem is I feel like that's who Durant is too. It's like, I feel like both of them have like, this is how we should play basketball. And it's like, dude, you like watch a Knicks game.
Yeah.
Basketball comes in many shapes and sizes. Watch it. Yeah. The T-Wolves, such a different team than the Suns.
Earlier you're talking about how like the other guys on the Celtics don't always seem to recognize Tatum as like the guy. Do you think that that's a similar problem where like the other guys on the Suns are just not recognizing?
No, because I think everyone on the Suns constantly defers to KD and Book.
I don't know if you feel the same way. I almost feel like a problem with the Suns is they never really established who the 1A and who the 1B is. I feel like it's like some games Durant's the guy and then some games Booker's the guy, but it's like even in the games where the 1B guy is the guy, like everyone knows like, okay, you know, the 1A guy is the 1A guy.
Yeah,
It's like watching the Mavs Clippers. There was a lot of times down the late part of that game where Kyrie had a really favorable matchup, but he was still deferring to Luka because it's like, this is the pecking order. This is the structure of the team. This is how the team works.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think we've seen examples in history where that doesn't matter too much, but I think it's more of like I've always felt that great teams start playing like how their superstars play. Like for the Timberwolves, for instance, like the Timberwolves play with great swagger. They dig their teeth in on defense. And I think they've really taken the like aura of Ant. They take cues on how Ant plays. And
so that even when he's not,
so
like,
even when
fully
he's not
there,
on the court, like they're playing with that kind of gusto.
Leadership, yeah.
And the Suns just don't do that. Like I think if Book led the charge and he took, 4 or 5 off the dribble threes, then the Suns would start shooting more threes. They would get into a better pace, but they don't because that's just not happening. And like, there's just, if they don't start playing in the way that we know they have to play to be competitive in this series, it's not going to be a competitive series.
Do you really not feel like Game 3 is going to be a big bounce back for y'all? Like you don't have any suspicion of that?
I don't know.
The thing with the Suns,
I mean, hard to say.
we'll move on to the next series. But the thing with the Suns, and we saw it last year, was like games 3 and 4 versus Denver. They go back to Phoenix, and I gotta say, the Suns win because Booker shoots over the course of the 2 games. Like what was it? Like 34 out of 43 on jump shots.
Yeah,
they're not even good shots, and I think that's the thing with Book. Oh,
but I
honestly,
wish we had that right now. These guys are shooting 13 shots.
I know, but. Yeah, I mean, that's an issue. But I think the thing with the Suns is they can win any game because Booker can just have these random games where he just doesn't miss. The problem is because of that, I feel like that's kind of a core tenet of it's like a core tenet of the offense is just Booker bad shots. Like the Heat game I went to, the Suns blew us out. But like when the Heat went to a zone, instead of the Suns doing like, okay, Durant, we're going to bring you to the free throw line so we can pass you the ball and you can collapse the defense and open shooters on the perimeter. The Suns' solution was Booker run full speed at the top of the zone and pull up, which is like the worst way to attack a 2-3 zone. But Booker was hot, so it worked. But it's like, it wasn't the right way to attack the zone.
But I'm going to push back on that just a little bit I think it's a little different contextually last season to this season because DeAndre Ayton was not a guy that was going to get on the offensive boards in the way that our bigs do right now. So like, I will take bad shots from our superstars if they're shooting. I just like, there's no early offense. I wish they got into early offense and just like take the bad shot, be Kobe, because like we have no other better options other than KD, Book, Beal. Shoot until you lose. Don't like.
I don't know if I
don't think
Durant. I don't know with Durant though, man. Like 6 of 15 is not good. Like that's why I was asking. Like, did he get to the rim at all, or was it a lot of what it looked like that last year in Brooklyn, where it's like he can't get to the rim, he's stuck taking these terrible mid-range shots, like.
Yeah,
like, I guess that's why I'm talking about the
time. They can take pull-up. They're passing up threes off the catch. Off the dribble, like,
but they don't take threes. It's not in their DNA.
But they have to.
I know they have to, but they don't. That's the player tendencies don't tend to change very much.
Yeah, and
but big bummer about Grayson Allen too.
Yeah, that's also like so tough. By the end of that game, they were sucking wind. Like the Beal played 42. They all played 42 minutes. Like that's a really tough way to play a playoff game, especially against this Wolves team that is just going to beat the shit out of you the entire game. I also need to say, Jaden McDaniels, wow. Like, what a performance. Yeah. He won the Wolves that game.
Yeah.
His finishing is just like so impressive.
I've never seen him shoot like that.
The way he can power up through contact and finish at the rim, really just like off a standstill is like, who does
Crazy.
that? Like, it's
On top of
really,
the
really
defense that he
impressive.
plays.
Yeah. And then like last stat I have from this game, Suns have an 81.6 offensive rating in possessions where Jaden McDaniels defends Devin Booker. He has absolutely destroyed that matchup. And they have a 113 offensive rating when McDaniels defends KD. So, like, I mean, Chris Finch, just masterclass thus far. Frank Vogel, maybe you can get in your team's ear at some point, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we going next?
You know, which one of your teams do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about my Lakers.
Okay, let's go to that Lakers game.
Game 2 was an amazing game.
Such an incredible
Such
game.
a great game. Yeah, I mean, it sucks for the Lakers. That was the one to steal, but, you know, Jamal hits a buzzer beater. It's like the weird symmetry between that and the Davis buzzer beater back in the bubble. I mean, I don't really have a lot of takeaways in this game. A big difference was like D'Lo comes out. He hits like 5 threes in the first like 10 minutes of the game. And like that's the thing, like when D'Lo shoots the way he shot in the regular season, the Lakers go from being this like fringe playoff team to like this team, in my opinion, could win the finals if he plays like that every game because they're that good. But I mean, it's just like they have the 20-point lead and it slowly chips away. And it's not chipping away in the point where it's like Denver goes on like a 21-0 run. It's like Denver's going on like a 6-2 run. Denver's going on like a 5-4 run. It's just slowly chipping away at it.
Yeah, by the time there was 5 minutes to go, the Lakers still had a 6-point lead, which is pretty sizable.
Yeah.
And it just felt like it disappeared in a moment.
It was such a weird game. There's that moment where Jamal Murray pulls up, LeBron strips him, LeBron dunks on him, Jokic throws this shot pass something to Gordon, who's almost falling out of bounds, and the ball finds Porter Jr. open, and there's like 4 Lakers down there and 2 Nuggets, and like, I don't know. To me, that was the play where I was like, oh, black magic. The Nuggets won again.
Yeah, I mean, like, D'Lo was really good in this game.
AD was phenomenal.
AD was awesome for the most part until the stretch run of the game where Jokic just put him in the basket over and over again. That and one to tie up the game with like a minute left was such a crucial possession.
But that was the big difference this game and why the Lakers got up early was AD was on Jokic.
Yeah.
Like game 1, they didn't do that. They did the roaming thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the reason they got up early is because D'Angelo Russell hit 5 threes in the first half.
But AD was also cooking.
He was
the whole
doing
game.
really well. LeBron in the second half was incredible. I think there was some talk about him getting tired in the second half of
he
game
did
1.
sub himself out during the third quarter of game 2.
But we didn't see any of that in game 2.
No. In game 2, he subbed himself out. Like in the third quarter. He called for a sub because he was so tired and he took like a 2-minute break.
He was great though.
He was great, but I think that's part of it.
His drives to the rim were just like.
But maybe that's part of
lightning.
it is he's acknowledging like, okay, I got to take these little 2-minute breaks, especially when Davis is getting it going to be ready for the fourth. Because I noticed they're like, and LeBron subs himself out. I'm like, oh man, the altitude is still getting to these guys.
But the thing that I look at for the Lakers and the reason why I think they lost this game is they had 4 offensive rebounds. That's it. And against this Nuggets team, like the given on most days is they're going to be hyper efficient. They weren't hyper efficient. They shot 23% from 3. They shot 44% from the field, and they still were able to eke out this win. But like the Lakers just have to figure out a way to manufacture some easier offense. You know, their transition defense was really, really good in this game for the most part. It's just tough. Like losing this game is so tough.
You only get 4 offensive rebounds because you're prioritizing transition defense.
Yeah.
And that might be what they have to do because the Nuggets, you know, are such a good transition team.
But that makes me look at AD. Like you got to find it. You got to.
I mean, I think that's the problem with the series is it feels like the way the Lakers win is AD plays like Michael Jordan for 48 minutes, and it's like if
just
that's
2020 AD.
If that's the pathway to victory, like I don't think they can win Because I mean, AD's like, it's like we're like AD needs to do this, AD needs to do that. AD's done so much. He is doing so much on offense and defense. It's like I don't really know what more Anthony can do. I mean, it's just the Nuggets are just good. Like I don't know. The Lakers played a great game. The Nuggets hit a buzzer beater. It's one of those games where like that shot's a coin flip. If it misses, we're like, oh man, the Nuggets. They got to deal with AD size, but they're just I don't know. They're just Jokic is just better.
Yeah. I think. A little more scoring from Austin Reeves
would help.
Would have helped. Yeah. 4 for 11 from the field from Austin Reeves and down the stretch. I love Austin Reeves. Let me just take a step back. Like of Lakers players that were drafted by the Lakers, I think he might be my favorite all time, which is not saying much just because most Lakers guys.
More than Andrew Bynum?
Oh, I do like Andrew Bynum.
Wait.
Lamar Odom.
Kyle Kuzma?
See, but Kyle Kuzma, I've seen him in other uniforms, so it makes him more palatable for me. I've only seen Austin Reeves in a Lakers uniform, so I feel like it's something big for me.
That yellow Lakers jersey does no favors to white people.
No,
not at all.
Yeah, it's like it makes you look like
A banana.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess. Okay, so I think we all feel the same way that like Denver's too big, they're too good, they're too coordinated, especially in Denver when they can really push this fatigue issue onto the Lakers. I mean, none of us thought the Lakers were going to win this series.
No. Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you know who? Only one person from the Lakers bench has scored in either game. Do you know who it is?
I don't think I've seen Torian score.
Gabe Vincent.
It's Taurean Prince.
It is Taurean Prince.
It's Taurean Prince. I don't know. I just thought that was funny because the Lakers fans cannot
stand him.
Talk enough about how they hate Taurean Prince.
I don't like Taurean Prince.
But hey, he was better than Rui Hachimura in this game.
Yeah.
Rui Hachimura did jack shit. He did nothing. He was honestly awful.
Yeah.
I will say I'm not a Lakers fan, but for the rest of the series, I am rooting for the Lakers because I want to tire out the Nuggets a little bit. I need at least one LA win. Just take it to 5 because there's a chance that the Wolves are playing them next. You know, I'm not going to say it's a lock, but there's a chance.
I would say it. But hey, I mean, that's a completely different series though. Like, not to get ahead of ourselves, but like, I think Minnesota is just built in a lab, literally by Tim Conley to beat his other Frankenstein that he created. Shout out Tim Conley.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Tim Conley was the GM who basically put together this iteration of the Nuggets. 2 years ago, he put together the Jokic, Murray, Gordon Nuggets. And then the Timberwolves hired him away, and he's now built the modern iteration of the Timberwolves. And it kind of seems like he built a team tailor-made to beat his old team because he knew his old team was that team.
I'll tell you, there's no Austin Reeves, Jamal Murray on that Timberwolves squad. There's no D'Angelo Russell to pick on that Timberwolves squad.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess, do you guys feel like the Lakers could take some of these home games? I mean, I think
maybe one.
I think that game kind of encapsulated the feeling we all had was like, this will be better than last year's series.
Yeah.
But the Nuggets are just going to win.
I honestly kind of struggle to, like, maybe they could get one game, but I feel like if there was a game, it was the last game.
I still feel like they're going to get one of these LA games.
Like, how many games are the Nuggets going to shoot 23% from 3?
I mean, not many, but again, I think one thing with the shooting numbers and these single game sample sizes, like going back to that Heat game, is like, I'm sure if you're box score looking, you're like, the Heat will not shoot that well again. But if every shot is wide open, they definitely can. And the thing with the Lakers is they play good defense.
The other thing that I think is unsustainable is Jamal Murray. 9 for 24 from the field.
Yeah.
Like, he was, obviously, he hit the shot. We haven't talked about him at all.
Early in that game, he was taking a lot of bad shots. I guess that's my thing. It kind of goes, we're going to talk about this with Brunson too in the Sixers series. Like, I think these guys can continue to shoot poorly if the shot diet stays really bad.
Yeah, but we've also seen Jamal Murray have a really bad shot diet and hit,
which was the fourth quarter of that game.
Yeah. So I don't know. That is basically why I just struggle to see it, because not only they had a couple of things going wrong, and Michael Porter Jr., he was great from three. And I mean, he was just...
Yeah, I mean, he usually is.
Yeah, he's always good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still picking the Nuggets in 5. I still think the Lakers are going to get one. These teams are... I feel like these teams are weird. I think they're not even. The Nuggets are better, but they're like oddly even for how much one team always wins.
Well, it's like it's a good matchup or it's a bad matchup for the Nuggets. It is. It's just not like bad enough of a matchup for the Nuggets to lose.
Fire Ham.
Yeah, for those of you who missed it, James may jump off a house because Anthony Irwin, a beat writer for the Lakers, reported that all plans right now are that they're going to keep Darvin Ham around. So, brings a smile to my
stand that dude.
Suns fans' face. Okay. Do you want to go to the other painful game for you? Or do you want to go to the game that you are happy about? Okay. 76ers Knicks. The Knicks pulled out one of the most miraculous playoff victories in recent memory. One of probably, I would say, like the second best playoff Knicks moment in the last 50 years. Maybe 40 if we're being conservative. Against the Sixers, they had a 5-point lead with a minute left. And then obviously, I'm sure all of you guys know,
Jalen Brunson shoots a 3 that bounces off the rim and in. They steal an inbounds pass, miss a shot, get a rebound, flick it out to DiVincenzo.
They mug Tyrese Maxey on the baseline.
See, okay. I was furious when this happened because I was like, this is just bullshit, dude. They're fouling the fuck out of the Sixers. Nick Nurse is calling a timeout. This is NBA. And then the next game, I mean, I'm not saying the refs lost the Lakers the game. I don't think that, but D'Angelo Russell gets fucking mugged in the face and they're like, under review, incidental contact. What are we doing? You put out a last 2-minute report that literally says the refs fucked up this, the refs fucked up this, the refs fucked up this. I don't know, man. I think it's just, the bad calls are one thing, but not giving a coach a timeout is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. If he calls a timeout, you got to give him the timeout.
Yeah, I don't know how you're not looking for that, but this happens. We don't have robots. We don't have robot umpires calling balls and strikes. It's part of the beauty of the NBA, but it is, from a fan perspective and from, I'm sure, a player and coach perspective, it is one of the worst aspects of the NBA and just basketball in general.
But I mean, for the Knicks, man, never giving up. You gotta love that. Never giving up.
It would have been so easy to give up there. I mean, not just give up before the inbound, but Dante DiVincenzo misses the first 3. An incredible offensive rebound from Isaiah Hartenstein. I have no idea how he got it to OG after that offensive rebound. And then Dante DiVincenzo to have the brass balls to take another 3 right after you break the last one. It was just an absolute special moment for, I'm sure, all Knicks fans. And the play that I forgot about, so the Knicks only go up 1 there after the 3. The play that I kind of completely forgot about after the fact, Tyrese Maxey brings the ball down. I think
that was weird. That
Sixers,
last 12 seconds.
The Sixers have 12-ish seconds. He drives to the rim
and
Hartenstein blocks it off the backboard. That was about as good of a look as you could have possibly hoped to get. And then the Sixers got another chance after that, which they did not get a great shot out of.
No, it was like a 50-foot Embiid 3. Yeah, I mean, you know what I was thinking about too with this game? It's a weird side note. The Heat and the Knicks, you would describe them in the same way, but the way their toughness and hustle actually looks visually could not be any further apart.
Yeah.
I feel like you never see Caleb Martin going 10 feet into the air like you see Josh Hart doing.
Yeah, left and right.
It's 2 very different forms of toughness and hustle.
Dude, how awesome is Josh Hart? 48 minutes in that game.
I noted it. So he's on a $20 million per per year contract for the next 10 years. Also, that 3 he hit where he's running full speed and just pulls up. It's like the one shot you're like, what are you? Oh my God, it went in.
Yeah, no, he's like the ultimate no, yes guy.
Well, I mean, when he's on a normal catch and shoot, I'm like, okay. But when it's like a full speed runner.
If it's a full speed runner in a close playoff game, it's okay. He'll make it.
No, I know. I mean, this series is really interesting, right? Because I think for me personally watching it now, I just feel like the Sixers are the better team. It feels like their offense is way more resistant to droughts. The Knicks are going through a lot of scoring droughts in both games.
Yeah, I mean, we've yet to see a Jalen Brunson good game, let alone anything.
But I guess this will go back to the other thing. Jalen Brunson is taking exclusively terrible shots, and he's taking a lot of terrible shots. And I think
8 for 29. I wish Devin Booker would shoot 29 shots. Anyways.
But I mean, they didn't score a lot of points. I don't think that's a winning formula. Like they won that game off a complete fluke where the NBA is like, oh yeah, they committed like 5 fouls that we didn't call.
But you know what? With
that's
all
not
that
a sustainable
said,
way of winning.
He's still I mean, I don't know. Is it not?
No, when
They're
you rely on
game.
black magic and uncalled fouls, that's not sustainable ways of winning.
I see.
It's not sustainable.
I don't know how you can say that you think the Sixers. I think the Sixers have the 2 best players in the series, but I don't think they're the better team.
I think they're the better team because the Knicks go through these scoring droughts that last like 4 or 5 minutes at a time.
But you can afford to do that when you have the kind of defense.
But like, think about it this way. If we came here today and they had honored Nurse's foul timeout, they even called all the bad calls. They just honored the timeout. And we're like, wow, 2 games in a row where the Knicks just can't score and the Sixers are able to score. I feel like the series outcome is misleading so much.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's like this like major imbalance, but I mean, I think the Knicks are right there. And I would lean better just because of the quality of depth that they have.
The vibes alone add so much.
Not to
Yeah, the vibes are good. But I guess
we will say they're also home. That helps.
There's way too many like Knicks possessions where it's like Brunson is taking some crazy mid-range shot over a guy who's like 5 inches taller than him. Like that's just so many possessions for them. And I'm like, I think it's one of those things in the regular season that can kind of work when the fouls are called differently, but when the bigger players are allowed to be a little bit more physical on Brunson, like I just don't think that's sustainable offense.
It's not super sustainable offense, but their defense is so elite. Like the Philly is shooting 36% at the rim. Like talk about a unsustainable offense. It's when you're not really getting to the rim all that much when you're the Sixers and you can't finish at all against it starts with the ball pressure from Hart and OG, but it goes all the way down. Hartenstein wasn't that great in game 1. Mitchell Robinson was amazing. And then they completely flipped spots. When you are guaranteed at least one game-changing rim protector on the court at all times, and Joel Embiid can't really get to the rim right now, like, I mean, I think that's pretty sustainable from a defensive perspective.
But this is where I'll push back on that. The reason why that's happening, though, is because every time Joel gets the ball in the catch, everyone crowds towards him, and they're opening up Philly's three-point shooters. So I'm okay if you're replacing your rim shots with wide open threes, which is what the Sixers are getting a lot of the times in these games.
Yeah, shooting
because I guess
shooting 36% from 3, they won that battle in this game as well.
Because I guess my worry for the Knicks is like they're going to go back to Philly, and let's say Hart, instead of shooting 5 of 6, shoots like 2 of 5, which is still pretty good, honestly. Like, and then the Philly role players have their turn. Like, I feel like this series very well could be 2-2 coming back to New York.
It totally could be. I mean, I think obviously both games have been well contested, but I will say, like, from what you're losing from Hart, you could get right back from Brunson, who is a better player than what we've seen.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, I think that's kind of the issue for me with Brunson is I personally don't think Brunson is the greatest passer. And I think like why I was kind of confident with Maxey coming into this series is like the speed can translate, because with Brunson, it's so reliant on like these like tough shots. Whereas Maxey's game is much more like, I'm going to get myself open before I shoot it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, Maxey's like speed, although it's like affected stuff in transition, it really hasn't materialized from the rim thus far in this series.
It hasn't, but Maxey's really good in that floater range, and he's been able to get that shot pretty consistently. And then also Maxi's 3-point shooting ability is really helpful for the Sixers.
No, I mean, I gotta say, like, Maxey has destroyed this
Knicks team,
matchup thus far. Like, he has been incredible. Like, I can't say enough, really. Like, I think he's cementing himself as like a true star in this league with this series, no matter what happens. You gotta be just like absolutely over the moon at what has happened. And I think one of these next 2 games, he's gonna have a real moment for that Sixers fan base that like I'm excited to see.
I gotta say, I hate that this series on Lakers Nuggets are round 1.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's the NBA right now.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's just, I looked it up. So the Sixers with Embiid playing have a better win percentage than the Celtics.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a team that.
But that's how many games is that?
How many games is what?
How many? Games?
It's like a 42 game sample size.
That's
pretty big.
That's pretty considerable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, this is a tough series. I think this could be a series where the Knicks win in 6, and they win a series where they're like point differentials in the negative like 20.
Yeah,
I would honestly not be shocked if the Knicks won this series, but the games they lost, they got smoked in.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what it's like when it switches to Philly. Also, the other thing, and I know you're going to push back on this, the Sixers supporting cast has not done anything for them
it's
in
not
this
been good.
series.
On offense.
On offense.
I'm pretty happy with the Sixers defense.
Yeah, I mean, Batum has been really great on Brunson. That I think he's a huge part. Just dealing with that length has been, it really reminds me of Dorian Finney-Smith against Chris Paul 2 years ago in the second round. Like, just that length on a mid-range maestro like that is really tough, especially when it's full court.
Yeah, the thing with the Sixers, because this, of course, it's the annual Tobias Harris sucks fest. Tobias Harris was kind of decent last year, I gotta say. This is the type of team Tobias really struggles against, like big wings. Because the sneaky thing with Tobias, having watched a ton of Sixers games, is he likes to operate out of the like high post. Like, he loves operating out of the high post against mismatches, and it kind of goes back to the very beginning of the genesis of this team, where it's like, well, if Ben likes to be down low and Joel likes to be down low, like, that's a little bit of an issue. And that's kind of the sneaky thing with Tobias, is I feel like the Sixers are always like, be an off-the-ball three-point shooter. And he's like, but I want to isolate in the post. This is not the series for him to do that.
No, it is not. Yeah, and it's like, God, is it a tough, no matter who it is, it's a tough matchup for Tobias Harris, because he's drawing Josh Hart a lot of the times. He's drawing OG Anunoby. And that's like, it's just a level of physicality that, like, really, there's no reason Tobias Harris should be being guarded with that level of physicality. But, like, the Knicks only have one gear.
Yeah. I really want to know what a Knicks Heat series would look like with this year's version of the team. Because I feel like the Knicks are like a lot of the same guys from last year, but it just feels like they're like flying into the, like, I feel like guys are constantly airborne in a way that I don't remember as much last year. Like,
well, I mean, we didn't have this Hartenstein last year. DiVincenzo he's a hustler. We didn't have him. Miles McBride was not playing last year. That dude's going a million miles a minute.
It's just so funny because I feel like the Heat are like this chippy, get in your face, whereas the Knicks are like, we're gonna come flying in at 30 miles per hour and jump over people. Yeah, I mean, the Knicks have been awesome. Like, the hustle plays are amazing. Like, I'm worried about them going forward because the offensive stagnancy is real with this team. Like, they just go through these long scoring droughts.
Yeah, I think matchup. It's all matchup. Styles make fights.
A really good defense. Philly closed, like, I think that's the number one defense the final 2 weeks of the season, if I recall correctly. And, like, it is hard to get things going at the rim when Embiid's playing. Like,
yeah,
the Sixers, like the Knicks, like, Oubre's a rangy, athletic wing. Maybe not the most attentive guy, but when he's playing on the ball, that's when you're maximizing his defensive potential. And the same with Tobias. It's like Tobias isn't really that quick laterally, but when it's like he's just isolating in space because the Knicks offense tends to be kind of static, like, you're maximizing the strengths of some of the Sixers defenders and masking their weaknesses.
Last person, Buddy Hield. Oh my gosh, you are losing so much money for yourself. Every game. Do you realize Buddy Hield has never played in the playoffs before this series? And I feel like it's always been the kind of thing of like, oh, he's like such a great shooter. Like, there's no way he could like die in the playoffs. is dead. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I mean, I will say he's having a hard time getting a shot off because it does feel like when he comes in the games, then Tibbs is like, okay, this is the new focus. Do not let this guy shoot.
Just shove him down. Just sit on him.
We gotta speed through these other teams because we're at 50 minutes already.
Lit. Well,
We don't have any other ones, right? Just Pacers Bucks.
Mavericks Clippers.
Oh, Mavs Clippers.
What a great game.
What a game. I mean, this is like, I hate the way the Clippers are guarding Luka from just purely an entertainment standpoint because it's a lot of like Luka touches the logo, 2 Mavs double up, Luka passes the guy on the wing, and then the possession starts.
You're sounding like Devin Booker right now.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about from watching the sport.
I feel
like,
you.
I don't like it. I mean, I think...
But you have to do that.
I mean, you have to
with
because Luka is just killing them.
Yeah, I mean, and he wasn't even efficient last game. 11 for 26, played 46 minutes, which is like, I don't love that from a long-term, as a guy that said the Mavs should be the 3rd highest on the championship ladder right now. Luka having to play 46 minutes in the first round is very scary.
But for me, to be honest, I don't really care about the minute accumulation for someone like Luka when he's only 24 years old.
That's true.
Like, he can handle it. Like, this is what LeBron did when he was younger. And to be honest, Luka's played himself into the position where that's the standard for him. So, like, that's what you got to do.
I think we're dealing with 2 different physiques.
Yeah.
And levels of athletes. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like, I don't know. For me, like, that's the standard I'm going to hold Luka to because he's one of those guys. Like what the broadcaster said, he is that guy. But I think, like, the Clippers did a really good job of funneling shots to PJ Washington. I think the Mavs will see the counter. I think what they need to do is figure out, can we run an off-ball action while Luka's getting double teamed? So when Luka kicks it out to the wing, it's Kyrie now on one of the worst defenders because it feels like the way the Clippers are playing the Mavs, we're due for a huge Kyrie game.
Yeah, it definitely does. Kyrie only got 18 shots up in this last game, and he was really effective when in those shots. He was 8 for 18, but I feel like you felt his presence on the game. The one thing that I am very surprised by in this series is I thought that the Mavericks center rotation was going to be such a plus for them. Gafford, he's dealing with some injuries, but when he's been on the court, has just not been.
I mean, Zoo is big.
The guy, Zubac has been incredible. Like, his finishing at the rim is just like so physical and intense, lively.
But also, he's got that nice little like touch shot. You know that little touch shot that Westbrook's really good at getting him? Yeah,
right over. I think he's been a huge plus for them.
Has he been their best player?
No, he has not been. I don't know. Maybe he has been.
Kawhi Leonard, I'll say that.
Yeah, Kawhi. See, that's where I feel like the Clippers lost this game. I get it. Kawhi's back. He's Kawhi fucking Leonard. But they were feeding him in a way like for me, if I have Kawhi on the court and he's not feeling it offensively, and of course he's rusty, just focus on defense, dude. We've got Paul fucking George over here.
Yeah, it's tough with Leonard though. Like, I feel like none of us really have an understanding of like what's going on with his knee. But you see this a lot with Leonard. It's like when Leonard misses, it's almost always short. It's almost always a front rim miss, which means he's not getting enough power on his jump shot, which means he's not getting enough lift. So it's like, I don't know. Because, I mean, that's the thing with Kawhi. We see him have follow-up games where it's like he has no lift with, like, proper shooting. But, like, that's just the concerning thing for me is, like, when I see him missing front rim every time, I'm like, he's not getting lift. Something's wrong with his legs.
Yeah, I mean, he has degenerative knee issues. Yeah. But I think this is a series.
This is a series. I mean, this is the thing with this series that's just so interesting is when you think of the Clippers, you're like, lockdown defenders all over the court, but none of them can handle Luka at all. And I think the thing with Luka that makes him really unique is the playoff physicality helps him a lot because on defense, he can be more physical, which helps mask some of his lateral slowness. I mean, I saw a stat. I think the Clippers shot 2 of 18 against Doncic yesterday, and they kept trying to attack him.
Oh, really? That's a great stat.
And I think the other thing, too, with Luka is like, even if he's not shooting well, he's just... It doesn't matter who guards him, George, Leonard, Harden, whoever. Like, he just gets where he wants when they guard him one-on-one.
Oh, totally.
Like,
I mean,
no one
when
on this Clipper team can handle him. And it's crazy because we're talking about some of the best defenders of the last 2 decades.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's the best player in the series. And if he can I think if he can produce offensively better than all of the Clippers guys in any given game, the Mavericks are probably going to win that.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty clear to me, at least at this point, that the Clippers have the better roster, top to bottom, 1 to 10. And that's why this series, I think, is going to be really close. I need Paul George to be more assertive on the offensive end.
Yeah. I mean, my big Mavs optimism going back to it is I just feel like the way the Clippers are guarding this kind of setting up the 4-on-3, like they're asking for Kyrie to just torch them in some of these games. And I don't know.
I will say,
I don't want to play like
James Harden, some really good possessions down the stretch against Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. No, finally Harden's taking it personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you remember when Harden barreled over Irving after the game was over? I was like, what's about to happen here?
I know. I had that.
Well, no, it was pretty friendly and cordial.
Yeah. I think James Harden also has been really good in this series so far. He scored 22 points, but 6 for 14, not amazing, but 1 turnover for a guy who has the ball in his hands a lot is, I think, a huge win for the Clippers. Yeah, I don't know. Of all of the series, this one screams 7 games to me more than anything. And I just want to take a step back. For people of our age, I think mid to late 20s, this series is just like so fun. It's like an all-star game. Every single matchup, it's like, oh, hell yeah. Like Kyrie's guarding Paul George. James Harden's guarding Kyrie. Luka's guarding Kawhi. Like everywhere you turn, it's like all of the side to main characters over the last 10 to 15 years in NBA history, all just like duking it out. Like it's crazy that this is a first round series.
No, it is. I will say one final thing on the Clippers. Before the series, Westbrook really closed the regular season on a really, really strong note. He's just continued that. Westbrook's been awesome these first 2 games. The Westbrook skeptic in me is kind of like, when are we going to get the Westbrook shoots them out of a game? But I mean, he hasn't been taking bad shots. He's been really good pushing the Clippers in transition. And defensively, I mean, it seems like he's just shifted so much of his focus to expelling energy on defense, which has been great for the Clippers.
Team high +8 in 24 minutes in a 3-point loss for the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, they're such a different team because when it's the Harden ball, they play so slow, which I just think plays into the Mavs' hands. But when Westbrook's out there, he's really just pushing the pace. The one thing with Westbrook, it's just like his rim finishing is so bad. Yeah,
it's pretty tough. He hit that huge 3, but yeah, to your point, in the half court last game, the Clippers were scoring 80 points per 100 possession, which is just abysmal. And also, the Mavericks were scoring 90 points per 100 possessions in the half court, which is also not great.
I gotta say, it's weird watching the Mavericks play in a sub 100 scoring game. It's like it doesn't feel right. It almost feels like we took some. I don't know what happened. It doesn't look like when you're watching, you're like, what? The score doesn't correlate with like the game.
But the big difference there is the Mavs are only, or they're playing 80% of their plays in the half court. The Clippers only 74%, which like if you're winning that half court battle, getting into transition more, you can't be scoring 80 points per 100 possession. It's just like lid on the basket.
Yeah. It's a fun series. Again, it's one of those series, though, where it's like, is it going to be 2-2 or is it going to be 3-1?
Yeah. Also, want to point out, do you remember that reach-in foul that Paul George committed with 34 seconds left on the clock on PJ Washington?
Yes.
What the fuck was that? Like, you're down by 4. There's 13 seconds left on the clock. PJ Washington has the ball, ISO'd on Paul George, and you're going to reach in? What the fuck are you doing, Paul George? If you get a stop there, you can win this. You can win this game.
Jog my memory. If PJ's like on the bottom, like the Mavericks are going they're facing to the left. From the broadcast angle, and PJ's at the bottom. Or is this when he's at the top in the triple threat?
On the top in the triple threat.
Yeah, no, I do remember that.
You've got him right where you want him.
Yeah.
Like, what is PJ Washington gonna do? Like maybe he can drive right past you. That's going to
No.
be tough.
He's not
like,
going to do
I
that.
don't think so.
He's not driving past
And like,
you, Paul
is
George.
he going to there's 13 seconds left on the shot clock. It's almost done. He's either going to throw a grenade to Luka or jack up a terrible shot and then you can get the rebound. Like, I don't know. I'm cheering for, can you tell I'm cheering for the Clippers in this series?
Boo!
Okay, quick Bucks Pacers thoughts.
I didn't watch
Anything?
game 2, so I don't have any real thoughts. I saw the Portis quote. He said the Pacers are front runners, which, you know what? I got to say, they do give front runner vibes.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? I didn't watch game 2, unfortunately.
I watched game 2. The whole thing is the Bucks defense is just abysmal. It is just a layup line to the rim whenever they want. The Pacers had a 38-6 assist to turnover, which is just absolutely elite. And they have no answer for Pascal Siakam. Like, I did not think we were going to see this kind of Pascal Siakam. I don't care that it's the hurt Bucks. To see Pascal Siakam, who is the Bucks' main person that they're trying to scheme against, completely dominate, you got to be feeling really, really great if you're a Pacers fan. But if Tyrese Halliburton can't figure out this scoring thing, it's just like you might get past this series, but there's just no real. I don't think even equity to get to the conference finals. I think the Cavs.
I think in the Knicks-Sixers series, we're seeing the second and third best. We're seeing 2 of the top 3 East teams play.
Yeah. So that's rough, but yeah. And from what it sounds like, I don't think Giannis is coming back anytime soon. But yeah, it's just And also the Bucks had no rim pressure at all. They're just shooting threes. And Damian Lillard has had good stats in these first 2 games, but in the second half of both games, he completely disappears.
What's that about?
Yeah, which is weird because that's when the Bucks caught up in the third quarter.
Yeah, well, it was a game.
I know that
It
from
was-
scoreboard watching the other game. I know I said I didn't watch, but they kept popping the score up during the other game.
The Bucks were up by 3 with 5 minutes left in the first half. And then by the end of the half, Indy went up by 5. And even with 3 minutes left in the third, the Bucks made a run and they went up by 1. But after that, it was just like, I don't know. Like, it's because Lillard takes a lot of really tough shots. And what was he? 10 for 21, 6 for 13 from 3, but he minus 24. Like, it is just, I don't know. It's not promising from Lillard. I think teams with better defenders than the Pacers, which the Pacers are not a defensive team at all, they can take him out of the game. And I will say it's really impressive to see the Pacers run. I have never seen a team run like this. The like running off makes, running like just their ability to get into transition is so fun to watch. I'm excited to see this team grow. I don't think that they can win another series after this, but I feel really good about predicting the Pacers to win this series.
Oh, same. Yeah, I
Because-
still got the pace, especially since Giannis. I don't think he's going to come back.
No.
Also, there's always one series that nobody cares about, and clearly that's the OKC Pelicans series because you guys didn't
Oh,
mention that at all.
hey.
I mean, I watched a little bit last night. I mean, it was very different than game 1. OKC really kind of had complete control of the game. I mean, they're up by like 15, and the Pelicans are like dumping it down to Jonas. He gets blocked by Chet, and it's one of those things where it's like I kind of like that when it's like a close game, but I feel like when you're down by 15 on the road and Shea is cooking,
Yeah.
you gotta start running and gunning.
Chet was absolutely unbelievable in the first half yesterday. And I watched the first 3 quarters of that game. It just was not close. And thinking back to game 1, the first half that OKC had was very disjointed. It was kind of like, whoa, like we're at home. We're the 1 seed. Like there is pressure on us. But I think they were able to shake that in the second half of game 1, and it wasn't there at all. Especially like shout out Chet again, incredible in that game. I don't think it's going to be close. It's feeling sweepy to me.
Yeah, it's a 1-8 matchup.
I'm feeling sleepy too.
Let's get sweepy.
Yeah, let's get hot streak shooting slumpy.
All right. So, all right, Patrick. So we're going to talk about our weeks every week on Thursday. If we had a hot streak or a shooting slump. Patrick, I mean, did you have a hot streak? Did you have a shooting slump?
No, I had a shooting slump. Well, first off, I'm in the middle of a move this week. I got my keys on Saturday, and it's been kind of a slow, like I'm just piece by piece trying to get everything over. And then I'm doing all of my like big furniture next week or on Tuesday, which is the end of the month. But that's been kind of stressful. There's still a lot to do. And then, hey, last week at this time, I was riding high. I picked the Suns to win this series. And I have just seen these Timberwolves just absolutely rip out my soul. I'm considering Trey Murphy led trade packages for Devin Booker. It's just it's been a rough week. The Suns of it all has been really taking the wind out of my sails.
Yeah, I gotta say, you lamenting the Suns off camera. There's Patrick's old signed Devin Booker jersey covered in the remains of the frame that collapsed around it. Just very telling.
Wow, that is, yeah. It foretold what would happen for the rest of the season when that frame broke.
Yeah, we've got the Mikal Bridges art behind you, but maybe we'll have another former Sun and Kevin Durant and Devin Booker behind you soon. But you'll be stuck with Bradley Beal. He's not going anywhere.
We got Brad. Maybe he will. Maybe Brad will just waive his no trade clause, and somebody will. No contract is untradeable. If we've learned anything over the last couple of years, it's that. I don't need value. I just need roster spots.
So nothing's going good for you this week.
I don't know. Get back to me on that.
Dang. Okay. Well, I will say I'm on a hot streak. Anytime the Celtics lose, it's hilarious, especially when they lose to the Heat. I mean, I feel like the whole NBA fandom just loves to jump in and make fun of the Celtics when that happens. I mean, how can you not?
Not having Jimmy Butler in the lineup makes it even better, too.
Funny.
Yeah. No, I think my favorite is like since the Heat have joined the NBA, they have been way better than the Celtics. Like since like 1988, we've got more chips, more finals appearances. Like you can't say shit to us.
It's true.
No, I'm on a hot streak.
We got 17 rings. What are you talking about?
Yeah, until we showed up.
Yeah.
So house news. I'm supposed to be going to market next week.
There we go. So if you're interested,
Buy my house.
buy James's house.
But so I'm someone who actually usually enjoys moving. I like being in a new space. I get a lot of energy from it. But I will say, owning a full house, because I went from the apartment where I had a lot of stuff in storage and then I unloaded everything into this hothis. I got to say, I've been walking around that house and I've been like, this is going to be a tall task. Yeah, I mean, like, this is going to be a tall task.
It's a lot.
Like,
you're all by yourself. I've got a girlfriend helping me. It's
Brag.
I'm really helping her.
Humble brag.
Humble brag.
Humble brag.
Yeah, I don't have a girlfriend. Yeah, no, I'm a little intimidated, so I might be getting shooty slumpy going into whenever I hopefully get if I get an offer on the house that I like, I don't know, I'll figure out the moving thing. I always figure it out. I've never unsuccessfully moved.
Are you like completely unpacked from the move in?
Yes.
It seems like just yesterday that you moved into this house.
I know. Yeah, I basically moved in, renovated it, decided I wanted to leave. But no, next Wednesday is supposed to be my go-to-market date, so I'm super excited. So this weekend, I'm really going to pump it up. What else? Oh, the NFL draft is today.
That's true.
I am so excited. So my roommate, got to put him on blast. Well, not roommate, my friend Ian. My man bet me like 2 months ago Caleb Williams wouldn't be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. So I was like, how much money do you want to put on that? Because I will take that right now. So
what are you doing, Ian? What are you doing, Ian?
Ian came with a classic yesterday. He bet me another $10 that the Washington Commanders will trade out of the number 2 pick.
Wow.
So I'm going to be $30 richer tonight. That's what, 2 Chipotles?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. If you're getting a drink, it might be 1.
I'm a water boy, so I don't get that. Sometimes I do get a water bottle though if I'm on the go. Yeah, vibes are high. I'm really excited to get moving on stuff. Things are looking good. Max, how's your week been?
Wait. Who give us a like 2-minute Giants. Who are they taking?
So I'm hoping the Giants take Rome Odunze, receiver out of Washington. I think he's the second best receiver in the class. Number one guy, Marvin Harrison, is definitely going to go before us. If we land Marvin Harrison Jr., yeah, I think he's going to go to the Cardinals. He's going to be a stud. Oh, actually, hot streak. Started watching the Fallout show. It is unbelievably good.
Oh, we were
So
talking
sick.
about that.
I love it. I binged the entire show.
So I just finished the 5th episode. You know, it was crazy. I thought it looked the trailers. I was like, I actually was sad because I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, it looks so bad. It looks so bad. And then everyone's like, no, it's really good. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. I'm like, oh, it's so good,
Dude. I played Fallout 3. That was like my shit in like 2013.
Yeah, 3 was great.
I put probably like 150 hours into that shit. So it honestly is like so faithful to the story, but not in like, or not even to the story specifically, but just to like the universe.
Yeah,
And, like,
yeah.
I love all I mean, I will say my one complaint is the Brotherhood of the Steel character is probably like the weakest guy for me in terms of like,
I don't like. I will. The scene. His name is Maximus. His scenes are pretty weak.
Yeah.
I don't like his personality.
I think that's part of it. And I can't tell if it's like bad acting necessarily or if it's just a poorly written character.
It has to be a poorly written character because I feel like if I was a director, I'd be like, yo, stop that shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
so
everything
Max,
else.
I have a question without spoiling it.
Yeah.
Watching the show, obviously, got to ride for Lucy. Love our girl.
Yeah.
As the shows develop, the plot that I want more of is the Vault 33, Vault 32, Vault 31 triangle.
It's coming.
Of vaultiness.
It's coming, bro. You're gonna get more of that.
Is it good? Does it stay good? Because I feel like every episode, that's the plot line that gets the most interesting, and the rest of it is a little less interesting to me.
Oh yeah, no, it really gets it ramps up in a big way.
Oh
yeah.
I'm so excited. Yeah, I was a huge Fallout 3 fan. Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. I loved Fallout 4.
Okay,
that game was awesome.
I never played that one. I feel like I should.
It was good. I feel like a lot of like Fallout purists don't like it because of the story, but the gameplay is just such a giant leap over 3 in New Vegas that I'm like, okay, come on. It's a video game. You're playing it.
How the hell do you have the screen time available in the first round to watch this TV show right now?
You know what's weird? I don't know. I watch basketball and then I'm usually tired and I go to bed. I have been staying up later than normal. I normally go to bed at like 10:30. I've been going to bed at like 12:30 so I could binge a couple episodes of this. It's addicting. Like last night I was like, I'm going to watch only episode 5. And then I was like, I don't know what happens. No, it's so good. I wish it was a little less gory.
I'm okay with it.
I don't love seeing. I feel like the older I get, I don't like seeing gore.
I will say not enough energy rifles. That's what I want in my life.
Yeah, I want to see some people get zapped.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Patrick, I recommend the show. I mean, okay, you watched The Last of Us?
Yeah, I did.
So I thought The Last of Us was incredible. Mm-hmm. I'm having a hard time. Like, I haven't finished Fallout.
Is it as good as that? I
think tentatively I'm putting it a little bit below, but with a small gap.
I mean, that's not saying anything bad about that show. Last of Us was great.
Different. I feel like Fallout has such a more complicated like future lore situation. I feel like in The Last of Us, it's not.
Does it take itself as serious as Last of Us does?
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some parts where it tries
humor.
to be funny, but like, I don't understand. Last of Us is a really dark show.
Yeah. Fallout's not that dark, I don't think.
But I feel like there's moments in the Fallout show that are also even darker.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Thematically, there's some overlap between the
I
two.
would say. Yeah.
Max, how was your week?
All right, I'm gonna keep it short, boys, because we're way over time here. But I'm on a hot streak.
Let's go!
Of course you are.
Free Jiffy Lube.
Free Jiffy Lube. Yeah. I mean, look, my boys been playing. They've been playing real good.
They've been hooping.
They've been hooping out there. Shout out, Sixth Man of the Year, Nas Reed.
Yes. I was very happy to see that.
So stoked. Shout out
Tyrese Maxey. Shout out most improved.
Oh, he
player.
got it.
We didn't
Okay.
talk
My
about
guy
that at all.
Maxi, who I will say we did put some extinguisher on the Maxi MIP case.
Dude, what wasn't that improved was consistently good. But
Did you see
whatever.
that he was the first MIP to have scored 20 points per game the previous season?
Should be revoked. It should be revoked.
I love you, Tyrese Maxey.
Sorry, Max. I'm taking over.
We're not even being hater. Our take is that you were just awesome already.
Yeah, exactly. Max, I'm sorry.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, it's cool. I was just saying, I'm really stoked. I am changing my pick to Timberwolves in 6.
Don't give him 2.
Thought he was gonna say 4.
I want to say 4.
I don't want to get crazy here. I'm gonna say Timberwolves in 6.
Boy, would I love Timberwolves in 6. I'd take right now in a second.
I got T-Wolves in 5.
5?
5. If they win Game 3, I've got them in 4.
I will say if Game 3 is gonna be huge.
Yeah, Game 3 is huge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Obvious. It always is. Obviously.
If the Suns go down 3-0, they might just like come in street clothes for Game 4. Like there's nothing that I've seen that would convince me they would show up to that game.
Yeah. Anyways, were you gonna say something, James, real quick?
No, I just came across my mind, super unrelated to everything.
Okay.
But I had to get your guys' take on it before we close the pod. After you finish.
Okay. Otherwise, going home this weekend to see my family. Got a Passover dinner situation going. I have a layover in Minneapolis, so I might, jump out, try to hang out with Jaden McDaniels for a little while, say what's up. Congrats to
Feel
Nas.
the vibes of the city.
And then, Fallout's been sick. I've watched all that this week.
Sick.
I also started watching Shogun, which I don't know if you guys have heard of that show.
The first episode, I really liked it. I just don't have fucking time to watch any TV shows right now.
It is like a super epic, like samurai drama on Hulu.
No, it's
super
dope.
sick.
The one thing I don't like about the Fallout show, I wish it was weekly.
I agree.
You know what? Because you know what I love? I love watching a TV show for a show like that, and then I love going on
week
like
leading
Twitter and Reddit
Yeah.
and all these websites to get everyone's takes and all the cool things they notice that I never noticed. That like, oh, this shot, is symmetrical to this shot from 2 episodes ago, and this is what that like. I love reading all that really cool analysis.
And this makes me sound like old as fuck, but I'm just like, I think that's the way TV should be,
because that's the problem. I've like watched these Fallout episodes. I'm like, all right, I want to find discussion. No one will talk about any episode because they just watch the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. And it's also that problem where you have those freaks that will binge the entire show like the night of the drop or the day after, and then you start talking to them at a party that weekend. You're like, oh, Fallout, you've been checking that out? And they're like, yeah, I already watched the whole thing. And you're like,
Vader was Luke's father.
yeah. Like, okay, well, I guess I can talk to you about it, but do you even remember what happened in only the first episode? It's like...
So I have to ask you guys, because this is just, it came across my mind because I feel like it's going to be old news in a week. So obviously we're in the midst of this like Drake-Kendrick rap beef, and Kanye West used to be my favorite artist, obviously kind of went down a very sad anti-Semitic road.
He did?
He did.
Oh, whoa.
Started praising Hitler, which was a weird career arc.
That's kind of quirky of him.
But so Kanye, right, he's been dropping these like very Christian-led albums for the last couple of years. Did you guys see he's starting a porn company?
Really?
I don't know what.
Kanye?
Like a production company or like
I don't
a
know.
website?
Like, I don't know if it's like a Pornhub or if it's like a Brazzers. I don't know what we're talking here.
All right, we got to end the show right
No,
now.
I'm just wondering what the fuck is happening in 2024. It's like the world just gets weirder and weirder.
Yeah, I mean, is it the world that gets weirder and weirder, or is it Kanye West that gets weirder and weirder?
I think the world is like slowly getting weirder and weirder, but Kanye's getting weirder and weirder at a faster pace.
The exponential growth curve is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I didn't realize that. I mean, I think he could find some success in there. The first video is going to be him getting a blowjob on that boat in Venice. That's how you shut down the internet, Kanye West. Last shout out, Jalen Suggs Get Better. That series is over. We didn't talk about it at all.
Oh, yeah, that's the one that truly nobody cares about.
Yeah.
We touched on it.
We touched on it last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll catch you guys on Monday next week. Peace.